morning, Jack to Nerdy fans. Welcome to my non-spoiler review for Lady Ballers. Before I jump into that review, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on a video. And if you do enjoy our content, please give these videos a thumbs up. It is the greatest metric that YouTube uses when deciding to promote our videos to other users, and it will greatly support our channel. So hit that thumbs up button. It doesn't cost you a thing. And let's jump into it. So Lady Ballers. So this is something a little bit different. Normally we don't do these types of reviews, but I saw a couple of interviews recently with the writer and director of this film, and I thought it looked really, really interesting. So Lady Ballers is a film which has been created by the people over at the Daily Wire Network, which is a online members only streaming kind of platform. So look, it's not your normal kind of Netflix, YouTube, Apple TV, Paramount Plus, whatever kind of thing. But what really drew me to this particular film is that in the interviews, the trailer looked absolutely hilarious. So if you haven't seen the trailer, check that out. But through the interviews that I saw with the director and the writer, they it sounded really interesting because they wanted to get back to the kind of the old school comedy that we all used to enjoy very much back in the the late 90s, early 2000s. He quite often referenced things like Tropic Thunder and Dodgeball and those types of movies, which I all love very much. I was a big fan of like the Euro Trip and Road Trip movies. Two of my all-time favourite comedies are the Adam Sandler Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2. And they just don't make comedies like those sorts of films anymore. The main reason why they don't is because of woke culture and cancel culture. And this film very much takes a big swing and a big dig at that culture as a whole and where we are at in today's society. So if you're kind of like me and you're over all this whole political correctness and woke kind of thing, this will very much appeal to you, especially if you've seen the trailer. It's in your face, and it's very much taking the piss out of everything, which again to me drew me in, astronomically drew me in. I was very, very interested in what have you. So it's directed by Jeremy Boring, funnily enough, and of course he writes. He wrote it, directed it, and he also stars in it. I heard like great stories about they went to Hollywood and went to all these kind of A-list, B-list, C-list actors with this property to get them involved, and all of them turned them down. They even went to actors that had already been attacked by cancel culture and had been cancelled. So they had nothing left to kind of lose, and even they kind of turned them down, basically. So I thought that was really interesting that all these people got turned down. So the people at the Daily Wire turned around and said, well, if we are going to make this, we're going to have to make it ourselves. And basically everyone from the Daily Wire was involved. Even Ben Shapiro had a little cameo, which was really quite funny. And Matt Walsh, I quite enjoy watching those two guys quite a bit. Another interesting little cameo was it Senator Senator Ted Cruz, I believe it is. Had a little cameo in it as well, which I thought was really, 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 really funny as well. So, like I said, is really, so here we go. Senator Ted Cruz was in it as well. So, look, really, from the trailer and the interviews and everything, this movie had a lot going for it. I was really, really excited to see it. So me and Mrs. Jack Nerdy sat down and watched it last night, and Mrs. Jack Nerdy didn't really hit with her. Again, she's a big fan of the old school comedies like Dodgeball and all of that, but it didn't quite hit with her. And I hate to say it, she did stop watching it about halfway through. I persevered. I kept watching it the whole way, and look, I did enjoy it a lot more than she did. However, I found it still. I was expecting a lot more. Like I said, I mean, as a fan of that old school genre of comedy, and because in their interviews they referenced a lot of these types of films, maybe my expectations were a bit too high. I don't know, but for me, it didn't quite hit the mark where those films did. So I found it a little bit lacking in some aspects. I mean, on the whole, I still enjoyed, quite a bit of it. A lot of the jokes did hit well with me. I found myself, quite a few times, having a good cackle. But to compare it to those old school comedies like Dodgeball, like Tropic Thunder, like Euro Trip and all that, it just did not hit the mark. I'm afraid, which is disappointing because I did have very high hopes. I had very, very high hopes for this film. But this is the very first kind of feature comedy film that the Daily Wire has done. For a first effort, I think it did pretty well. And it just leaves a bit of room for improvement with the next film property that they do. So, look, I mean, I wouldn't completely count them out. I wouldn't say it was horrible. Like I said, it was relieving to see someone finally pushing the envelope on woke culture, on cancel culture, someone finally kind of fighting back and just shoving it in their face about how ridiculous the whole movement is and how obscene a lot of their views are. So it was really, really good to see people push back. So I personally, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this film, but I just give it maybe a 6 out of 10. It maybe even a 5 to 6 out of 10. It was entertaining, but it's not quite there yet. So on IMDb, it's got a 6.4 out of 10, which I think is still a very reasonable score. So look, it wasn't a complete loss. It wasn't the kind of film where I wanted my money back, or I wanted that hour and a half, 2 hours of my life, because God knows I've seen a few of them over the last 12, 18 months. But all in all, it was a pretty decent film, very decent effort by the guys, for a first attempt. I'm really interested to see what else they come up with over the next, year or two. And hopefully they just keep improving. So that's my thoughts on Lady Ballers. Definitely, if you haven't seen the trailer for it, head on over to YouTube. Well, you're already on YouTube because you're watching me. So type in Lady Ballers trailer. Check out the trailer. See what you think. If you do like what you see, head on over to the Daily Wire and check out Lady Ballers. And let me know. Hit me up in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think. I'd be very interested to know what everyone else thinks out there. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Is it your type of thing? I'd be very interested to see what everyone else thinks. So hit me up in the comments section below. And as I said before, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. And we'll check you at the next video.